Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the members of council, staff, and members of the public to this December the 8th public information meeting. And I just wanted to mention this is a public information session held for the purpose of public engagement on certain topics with the public, council, and staff. During a public information session, no member discusses or otherwise deals with any matter in any way that materially advances the business or decision-making of the council. I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson for the Indigenous land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you, Worship. We acknowledge this land on which we are gathered today as part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. The town of Petrolia is located on the land associated with the Huron Tract Treaty number 29 of 1827. We express gratitude for the land where we live, work, and play, and we are committed to working respectfully within the land and the Indigenous peoples who have called this land home.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. The purpose of this meeting is to afford the public an opportunity to receive a presentation of the 2026 budget highlights and key projects as approved by municipality under the strong mayor powers at the November 25th, 2025 special meeting of council. Any unrelated comments shall not be brought forward at this meeting. Public wishing to address council on another topic are most welcome. This can be done by completed through the clerk's office for inclusion with the next council meeting agenda. And just to keep on track here, usually at this time, I introduce members of council. I'll still do that. On your right is Councillor Welsh, Councillor Clark, Deputy Mayor Field, Councillor Hyatt, Councillor Patel, Councillor O'Hara, and my name is Brad Loosely and I'm the mayor. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson, please, to introduce the staff.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I will also go in that same rotation. We have Mike Thompson, Director of Operations, Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, Annette Strand, the Manager of Finance and Deputy Treasurer, Larissa Ellsworth, the Director of Marketing, Arts and Communications, Jessica Smith, the Manager of Legislative Services and Deputy Clerk, and Rick Charlebois, our CAO Treasurer, and I'm your clerk, Mandy Pearson.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. I just want to make a couple statements and then I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer, Mr. Rick Charlebois, treasurer and CAO. I just want to mention the budget was prepared by the budget review team made up of Deputy Mayor Field and Councillor Clark. This was done under the strong mayor's powers with this new system set up by the province of Ontario. I would also like to thank the budget review team, Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, and his staff for their information. I am very pleased with a 2% increase to the municipal tax rate, 4% to our water rates due to the new line going out into Lake Huron, and 4% to our sewer rates for major work required to the plant in the next few years. This budget still includes a number of major projects within our town. The team does realize this is a difficult and unsettling time, however, feel that there has been discussions by our federal and provincial governments of possible new capital grants for municipalities. The town of Petrolia is well prepared with shovel-ready projects to respond to any new grant programs that are introduced. The town is also blessed with some new assessment growth this year. Even though development has slowed down, it is still better than our previous year. For council's information, a 1 mil rate or a 1% increase in the 2026 year, municipal taxes for 1% is approximately $68,000. And the team is very pleased that no new planned debentures are proposed and that our debt has been reduced from $10.2 million in 2017 to approximately $4.8 million by the end of 2026. There are 5 debentures that are maturing this year for a savings of $76,918. And as council is aware, the town now has $380 million in assessment. Also, please note that this is the municipal portion of your taxes and does not include the county or Board of Education. At this time, I'd like to call upon Mr. Charlebois, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can I have the presentation, please? Next slide, please. This slide here called the bottom line slide, as the mayor just mentioned. So in budget 2026, it's a 2% property tax rate increase. Water and sewer both at 4% each. And one of the practices that we adopted 5 or 6 years ago was our staff projection of a target for 27 and 28. And that's in front of you there. Just also wanted to point out bottom note on the slide there. The CPI for Ontario in 2022 was 6.8%, highest 40-year high. And inflation in 2023 was 3.9 and about 2.4 in 2024. Next slide, please. This slide here compares inflation, the Ontario Consumer Price Index rates to the water rates over a 6-year period. And you can see from 2018 to 2024, the last full year that we can get inflation and can get our rates. So for water, if you look at the last year in 2024, so inflation was 23, the cumulative rate 23.2%, and the water was 16.8%, so about a 6% below the inflation for that period. And that at that same time, there was extensive replacement of a lot of water assets, like the Mandoman Reservoir and Booster Station, our water treatment plant Clearwell, low lift pumps, the water treatment plant intake, which started a couple of years ago and should be finished by next fall. High lift pumps and several road reconstructions. Slide, please. Here's a high-level summary of the water budget for 2026. So the revenue is 2.9 million. That's got the 4% increase in it, and also includes bulk water that we sell to Inniskillen, who then turns around and sells to Don Euphemia and Oil Springs. Our operating cost, 1.6 million, broken into our water treatment plant, booster station, water administration and collection and equipment, and the water distribution. All right, that gives us our net operating surplus of 1.3 million, just subtracting the revenue from the operating cost. Then our capital expenditures from our operator for water, which is Aqua, Ontario Clean Water Association, 253,000. Our intake, which is the big pipe that goes into Lake Huron and brings in the raw water. Next year, just over 3 million, or sorry, $10 million. And we have a grant for this one, 73%. So we'll get about 7.5 million in grant money. We're also doing the second phase of the Petrolia line Oil Heritage water main upsizing. And that one there, we also have a grant. So it'll be a net expenditure next year of about $94,000. Total cost of the project is about 1.9 million, of about 1.8 million in grant that we'll receive next year. Next slide, please. Capital salary cost, that's the staff time put towards managing the project and the grants for the water capital. The bottom line is a transfer from water reserve of just over 2 million. Most of that's due to the intake project. And then we don't anticipate any loans for water. The water reserve at the end of 2024 was $2.8 million. And there's a couple of words there on the slide about the intake. It's a $16.2 million project. And it's about an 80-year-old asset, a very important asset for the town that we need to replace. Next slide, please. So now we're moving on to the sewer That's sanitary sewer and storm sewer. So again, it's inflation, the CPI, so the top black line there. So it's same total over the 6 years, 23.2%. And the bottom line, the green line, from 2018 to 2024, it's a cumulative of almost -4%. So it's about a 28% below inflation over those 6 years. And we also did replace a lot of sewer assets, like refurbishing 12 of our sanitary sewer pumping stations. We tail ended the replacement of the wastewater treatment plant and numerous road reconstructions. Next slide, please. This is a high level of the sewer budget. So 2 million in revenue. That's including the 4% increase in the rates. Operating cost of 1.7 million. So storm sewers a little bit, sanitary sewers, and then the wastewater treatment plant. We get our net operating surplus, 286,000, by subtracting the revenue from their operating cost. And then our capital program for next year, it's operator recommended capital of 104,000, and that's from Jacobs. They manage, or they're the operators for our sewer treatment system. And then a little bit of money for the capital salary cost. So the bottom line is a transfer to the sewer reserve. That's the operating surplus less the capital of $178,000. For sewer, we don't anticipate any loans in 2026. And the sewer reserve at the end of 2024 was $240,000. Next slide, please. So this next slide, same thing. It's got top line is the Ontario Consumer Price Index over those 6 years, so 23.2%. The bottom line, the red, 5.6%, the cumulative tax rate increase over those years. So it's a net difference there of about 17.5%. Next slide, please. So the revenues, these are the non-department specific revenues of 9.4 million. In there we have the property tax, the municipal property tax. This is just our share of it. There's the education and the county and then us. So for our share, so 6.8 million, as the mayor was saying, that's what's 1% of that, 68,000. The government contributions, that's 145,000. That's the OPP in our hospital. The Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, that's our largest operating grant. And it actually went up for 2026 by 83,000. So next year it'll be almost $1.1 million. Other revenue, 1,320,000, includes things such as the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund formula-based grant, close to 600,000. Our tax gas grant, close to 200,000. Tax arrears, interest and penalties, and the bank interest, and the Blue Water Power dividends and interest at 270,000, and miscellaneous revenue there of 15,000. We have our operating tax reduction fund from reserves of 33,000. This is what helped us to reduce the tax rate in 2026 from 3% down to 2%. Next slide, please. And we have some of the various departments in the town, like the library, heritage, planning and development. As most people will know, there's a lot of planning activity that's going on now in the residential development area. Our cemetery, then general administration, 1.4 million, has things such as council expenses, admin, staff salaries, insurance, legal, travel, etc. Our maintenance, facilities maintenance, 181,000. Protective services, 1.4 million. That includes our OPP costs. The fire department, over $400,000, and that's just our share, which is 60%, as Enniskillen pays the other 40%, as we have a shared fire department. Public Works, 1.3 million, includes things such as salaries, roadways, winter control for the roads, sanitary collection, street lighting, etc. Then we have the community center at just over $500,000. That's operated by the Y for us. We have our arena, $360,000. Parks and Rec, $526,000. Community events, $182,000. Farmers market, and then marketing, $177,000. And then we have our loans. This is for not water, not sewer. It'll be down to $76,000, and those loans will be paid off. I think it's by 2028. They'll be fully paid. So when we get our total expenses of 6.9 million, we have transfers to reserves, working capital, 1.7 million. That's to the working capital reserve, which is used to pay for town general capital program, as we'll see a little later. That's not water, not sewer capital. Then we have our gas tax and our Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund reserve transfer as well. So a total of almost 2.5 million in transfers to reserves. Next slide, please. So this next slide, there's the Victoria Playhouse. But I think it's about 12 years now that Victoria Playhouse has basically budgeted to zero, so that it pays for itself, both capital and potential future operating costs. Then we have revenues, non-department Pacific. That's what we talked about just a minute or two ago. And then we go take the expenses off, transfers to reserves. The VPP bottom line is zero. And then we get a net operating surplus for the town general stuff. And we have to budget for zero. Municipalities, unlike the province and the federal government, we can't operate at a deficit. Next slide, please. The next 4 or 5 slides is the capital program for the town general stuff. The presentation's online. You can look at it in slow time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact Town Hall. I was just going to highlight maybe a couple on the second slide, please. On the next slide. Just going to mention the halfway down the page there, there's a 60,000 transfer for the washrooms shower reserve, which is also now the decontamination capacity for the fire hall. And that was for a 4-year program. And I believe this is the 3rd year. Also a tanker, it's basically a big truck full of water. So that's our share of the second payment of the tanker. And let's see on the next page, please. I'm just going to point out the dog park. Council has approved a dog park for next year, so we'll be building a dog park. And the next slide, please. That's the top 3 lines. That's more engineering work to get ready, to be what they call shovel ready for those 3 sets of roads. If the province were to come out with a grant, we'd be all set to apply and be ready. Then I was just going to mention the 3rd line and 2nd line from the bottom. That's the Victoria Hall, our current elevator. It's as old as the building, and it needs a major upgrade to it, and that'll happen in 2026. Okay, then we get the total net capital is just over 1.1 million. The gross capital is 1.5 million, and with the special funding from our various reserves of 375,000, that's how we get to just over 1.1 million for capital. Next slide, please. This slide here shows the estimated impact for every $100,000 worth of residential assessment. The top line of numbers there is the Petrolia approved. So 2025 property taxes for $100,000 worth of impact assessment. And then the 2026 rate, and that changes $20 or 2%. And then the county and for education. So we've assumed a 3% for the county and 0 for education. Education's been 0 for at least the past 5 years. So we're expecting them to be that again. And then if you look at note number 3 on that page, so the average MPAC assessment is just shy of $200,000. So therefore, the increase in property taxes, all 3 levels, would be about $70 for 2026. And the 4th note there, just for so people to understand, so MPAC, they're still using the 2016 MPAC assessments. And the province hasn't indicated when they're going to switch to some sort of an annual or every 4-year assessment upgrade. That's still being studied. And then the next slide, please. This is the last slide, which was the first slide, a little bottom line slide. So 2% for the municipal property tax rate, 4% for water, and 4% for sewer. And that's everything, Your Worship.
All right, thank you, Mr. Charlebois. And I see there's no one here from the public to speak. Just before I declare the meeting closed, I do want to just bring this up for the record. There has been some incorrect information outlined in the Independent from our special budget meeting on November 25th. Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, has sent in a list of the corrections for clarification to the Independent. For any questions, please call me or the Treasurer, and copies of the corrections, etc., will be available at the Town Hall for anyone interested. And I will declare this meeting formally closed. Thank you, and we'll re-adjourn at 6:30.